Thank you so much.
Asante sana dada yangu Mheshimiwa Beatrice Askol. In our midst, we have a number of national government officials, and especially those who come from this region. They will not speak. I will just ask them to be upstanding so that you may know them. And they are led by my good friend and brother P.S. Raymond Omolo of Internal Security. Thank you very much, Daktari. We have got Dr. Umo Luga, a nominee for PS Medical Services. That is my good Vranda. Aya. Asante sana. Who else is there? We have got the chairman of the Kenya Sugar Board, who is also the son of the soil, Mheshimiwa Engineer Nicholas Gumbo. And Remuneration Committee, Mr. Wandayi, Jalango, and many others. Many others. Let me say this, and very briefly so, because as it is customary, as cabinet secretaries, we don't make speeches in the presence of the president. But let me say this, that the man lying there was a great man. Because a lot has been said about George, which I can confirm is true. I knew George in 1991, when I was a young university student in Nairobi. And George, amongst other colleagues of his, were then the youth of Baba and of course Jaramogi Oginga Odinga. So we worked very closely with George and his compatriots, those of us who are from the university as students, and George and his compatriots, whom I would have referred to as the combatants in the then movement. We consider ourselves as the think tank. But we worked very closely together. We had a very seamless blending. Very seamless blending. This George was a very calm person. But earlier on, he was very aggressive. I think in his earlier days. And very alert. I remember one day, Your Excellency, when we were in Thika Stadium, that was sometime in 1996, as members of Ford Kenya, then. The infamous Ford Kenya meeting at Thika Stadium, when there were divisions in the party, and we found ourselves in Thika, trying to resolve the stalemate. We were faced by a very aggressive group that had obvious support of the police. And on our side, we remained extremely vulnerable. Together with Baba and the rest. George, on that particular day, demonstrated utmost bravery and actually saved the day, because otherwise a lot of damage would have been done. Fast forward, Your Excellency, I found myself with George. You know, those days when you were youth, under Baba, being arrested was customary, was normal. You'd be arrested every other day. But one time, Your Excellency, I think that was now in 1997, when we were clamoring for reforms as young people, and under Baba and his compatriots. I found myself arrested together with George. And we spent with him almost 10 days at Kilimali police station. Those days, there was no time limit for being incarcerated in police station. You could even stay there forever, under the old constitution. We stayed with George for about 10 days at Kilimani. Later on, we found ourselves in Kamukunji police station, and eventually, we found ourselves in Kamiti, where we stayed with George alongside other comrades of his, like Lumumba Wade, who spoke here earlier on. In Kamiti, Your Excellency, we stayed for about 5 months with George. And George remained very firm and committed. One thing I want to say, is that most of us who have worked closely under Baba, those of us who have been through the Baba School of Mentorship, one thing we have been taught is to maintain confidentiality. One thing we have been taught under Baba is to maintain confidentiality and to keep secrets. Your Excellency, these days I get surprised when people come out and say, oh, when I was serving is something to those of us who have been brought up and mentored by Baba. Because we have been taught that you must maintain confidentiality. You must maintain confidentiality. Your Excellency, let me say this, that as we send off George today, we must appreciate the gains that we have made as a country. As a country. And I must thank Baba Raila Odinga for accepting to work closely with you, Your Excellency, to unite this country. Your Excellency, to unite this country. Your Excellency, where you sit, rest assured that Baba has got our collective mandate as the people of this region to assist you to unite this country. And that from where we sit, Your Excellency, there is no turning back. We have made a decision that we are working with you, and we are doing this to the end. To the end. We are doing this because we know that the country is much bigger than any one of us. Your Excellency, under your leadership, and I must say this here, it is the first time in the history of this country, since we gained independence, that we are seeing electricity being taken to our islands on Lake Victoria. Your Excellency, recently you came here and launched a serious mini-grid electrification project at Mageta Island. Here. Later on, I represented you in commissioning electricity projects in Ngode Island and Takawiri Island. Your Excellency, in this coming budget, we are planning to ensure, working closely with my brother John Mbadi and Mheshimiwa Samatandi, to ensure that we put in place mechanisms to extend electricity to Ndeda Island, to Oyamo Island, and to Sifu Island in Central Sakwa, here in Siaya County. And not to forget that we are also just about to open a tender to take electricity to Kiwa Island and Kibwagi Island in Suba South, Your Excellency. So these are happening because, as I conclude, Your Excellency, don't be threatened by anything or anybody. And those who are shouting, Ruto must go, I want to tell you, he is going nowhere. Oh, come on. He is going nowhere as long as Baba Raila Odinga continues to work with him. And we are all behind him. Your Excellency. Your Excellency, in this region, we are not known to be double speakers. We say what we believe in, and we do what we say. We have said in one accord that we are in this government of yours as a people, and we want to continue in that manner. Kwa hayo na machache, asanteni sana na Mwenyezi Mungu abariki. May George's soul rest in eternal peace. Asanteni sana.
Thank you, Waziri Wandayi, for those words. You know, my own session is now coming to a close. So allow me on behalf of the people of Rarieda, now that we have the attention of His Excellency the President, to say only 3 things. First of all, Your Excellency, in these grounds where we are mourning George Oduor, But we've been mourning in recent days. In this very school where we are, 2 students lost their lives barely 2 weeks ago when they were on top of a cistern or a pit that sank. And in fact, they are being buried today. So we mourn with their families. In this very